The views and opinions expressed on More Peace, Please are those of the host and her guest. The information presented is strictly for general information purposes only.
What happens when you're out of alignment is you lose a certain sense of self-confidence, right? You lose the ability to sit up straight with your shoulders out. You lose the ability to keep your head up and keep your crown on. You lose this because you're not thinking of yourself in the way that God would have you.
Welcome to More Peace, Please, because sometimes we just have to ask for more peace. Please. On this podcast, my guests and I will discuss different ways to access peace, while also acknowledging how difficult peace can be to obtain and maintain. I am your host, Dominique Davis, also known as Brown and Bindi, trauma-informed yoga teacher and practitioner, weekend musician, and content creator. Welcome to my little corner of the internet. We're all friends here, so kick off your shoes, relax your feet, and let's just see if we can ask for a little more peace. Please. Hello, welcome back to More Peace, Please. I am your host, Dominique Davis, and I am so glad that you are here. It is hot, like hot. And I'm doing my best not to complain because I know when winter comes and I can't feel my toes, I will pray for days like this. So instead, I am going to go in my backyard and lay out and feel the sun on my skin. And when I'm done, I'm going to come back inside, take a cool shower, and call it a day. Okay. But all that being said, it is hot outside. My goodness. I'm just sitting here relaxing and recharging from all that the heat has taken from me. And I'm thinking about my life. I'm thinking about my choices. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about all of the times that I've made plans for myself, only to realize that the sheer magnitude of the plan was actually self-sabotage. For example, remember a few episodes ago, I confessed my intention to bring you trauma-informed classes and that I was going to upload these classes to YouTube once a week? Yeah, that's not going to happen. You may have known that wasn't going to happen when I said it, but I'm here to confirm that is not going to happen. And the thing is, I set aside time to film the classes. I set aside time to edit the class. I set aside time to plan the classes. But every time I would get up to that specific task, I would either be energetically spent or feel like my family was being neglected. Now, there is a happy ending. I have pivoted. Instead of creating pre-recorded trauma-informed yoga classes, I'm doing online events. These online events will be called Brown Girls Heal. Shameless plug. Visit www.brownandbindi.com/Brown Girls Heal to learn more. Okay, shameless plug over. Now let's discuss what happened in between the space of me recognizing that my goal was too big and the decision to pivot. First, there were several attempts to achieve this goal. I planned. I even completed the outline for the first class. I set aside time to film. Once I filmed, after reviewing the footage, I realized that the footage was unusable. I edit the initial plan, attempted to film again, only to run out of literal time before I had to go teach a yoga class. My point is, I attempted to achieve the goal. I attempted. Knowing that I showed up gives me the permission I need to accept that maybe this specific goal is not working for the current season of life that I am in. At first, I wanted to blame myself. I accused myself of not being good enough at planning or time blocking. If I wanted to make time for this, I would say to myself. I accused myself of being superficial and vain for wanting to deliver a certain quality of video. No one cares what it looks like. They just want the content. But eventually I had to pray it away because I'm just not the type of person to deliver half-assed content, whether through a podcast or video format. You guys deserve more than that. So I shifted my attention back to my intention. The intention is to bring trauma-informed yoga to Black women in an accessible way, but now this intention has evolved to also be sustainable for myself. It is all too tempting to look in the face of a failed goal and say, This is never going to work out. But oftentimes, failed plans lead to beautiful manifestations. In school, I'm currently learning about the purpose of setting goals as well as objectives. The purpose of a goal isn't to achieve the goal. The purpose of a goal is to create forward momentum and to learn. There's really no such thing as failing if you at least try. Today, Kacee King is joining us to discuss how one can go about finding peace in failed plans. Kacee M. King is a powerhouse in finance, education, and healing-centered leadership. With over 15 years in banking and finance, an MBA from the University of Bridgeport, and a successful transition into entrepreneurship and real estate, Kacee brings a wealth of real-world knowledge to every space that she enters. Now based in Charlotte, North Carolina, she teaches 8th grade career and technical education, empowering young minds in business, entrepreneurship, and leadership. Whether she's guiding first-time home buyers, helping clients transform their relationship with money, or simply sharing wisdom as a mother and mentor, Kacee's mission is clear: to help people grow, heal, and thrive, no matter what life throws their way. Here is episode 11 of More Peace, Please: Finding Peace in Failed Plans. Hey, Kacee. Welcome to the podcast. I am so excited to have you on More Peace, Please. Thanks for coming on today.
Hey, thank you. I am excited to be here. I feel like we have such impactful conversations on like a random everyday context that to have some structure and guidance around it is going to be monumental. So I'm so excited. So excited. So thank you for the opportunity. Yap her. What I'm going to call my podcast, Yap Her.
Yap Her. Oh,
yeah.
You with the title and the names, you have a gift.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Let's just get into it. So the first question that I love to ask all my guests: how do you define peace?
I am a firm believer actually, that peace is found in freedom. And freedom is found in God. And the only way for you to have true peace is through God. Like everything leads back to our source. And I believe as though when you're going through this journey, when you're trying to figure things out, and the journey changes, it shifts and evolves, and there's different nuances and things that become a part of your journey and your story. But it's always about freedom. And it's always about how to give yourself more time, more eloquence, more peace. And that's peace for me.
Absolutely. When it comes to the subject of God being peace, I mean, that's what God is in his essence. And I think that a lot of people, how they think about peace, it differs, but I can only speak for myself. I find peace in knowing things. I like to know. I like to pursue information, and sometimes I can give myself anxiety until I find out the answer. And
yes.
Oh, yes. You know from experience. But when knowing that God is who he is, and that's the answer to everything, it's like sometimes at that point when I have the anxiety and when I'm losing my peace and I'm trying to consistently pursue information, sometimes I'm just doing it because I'm just like, hey girl, I'm just gonna let you get this out of your system. But
let you get it off.
But when you know the answer, the peace is already there. It's like whether you're just gonna allow yourself to feel it. Hey, God, that's the answer. That's straight to the point, right?
That's it. But I think sometimes it takes us so much to find that. Yeah. And like you said, sometimes you just have to allow yourself to go through the notions, right? Yes. Like when you're having those moments of anxiousness, when you're like, you have to figure out how to bring yourself down. And I remember the first time I actually made the connection between my peace and God is I was really like having bad anxiety and insomnia and just really just not together at all. And I finally figured out that when I sat down to read my Bible, my mind stopped racing. And it was like God was telling me to sit down and shut up, stupid. No, seriously. He was like, sit down and shut up because you are running yourself quite literally in circles. When the answer, the toolbox, the toolkit, the resources, the everything you are looking for is right here.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
So that was my epiphany, my light bulb moment for me.
All the striving and all the looking under rocks, it's like, it's all great. But like you said, it's just like, we got to go through it. The human mind, the ego, we get this idea that I can fix it. I can do it. And it's like,
I can do it.
And it's like, okay, well, maybe through his strength, he'll allow it. But girl, that's a lot to have on your shoulders.
That's a lot.
You never had to. You never had to.
Ooh, that's a word. You never had to. If only we realized we never had to hear it. That's it. That's it.
You never had to, but it's what we're taught. It's what we're taught and how we learn to be. And when God takes it off of our shoulders and the anxiety that comes from having no weight there, it's like, man, my goodness, God is peace. But it's such a process of allowing. It's such a process.
Allowing.
Process
yes.
Of allowing. Absolutely. Yes. But I love that answer. The answer is right to the point, boo.
To the point.
Okay. So today we are talking about failed plans.
Ooh.
I think it is so important for people to remember that we can set goals, we can have vision, but sometimes we can make plans and those plans cannot always manifest the way that we expect or on our own timeline. So what I wanted to ask you was, what is your first memory of a failed plan that ended up bringing you peace?
So the most or the biggest, I would say, realization that I had with this was like, so I had the vision, and I'm pretty sure I shared this with you. I had the vision. I knew that I was meant to be a wife, period. Always knew that. Everything about me, how I nurture, how I nourish, how I care, how I carry myself, it is in the presence of how God would have adorned me to be a wife. What I didn't realize is that I had taken God out of that equation, and I was more married to the vision than the actual aspects or the components that are involved in that, right? So what I did was I allowed someone, because I can't even say I found someone, I allowed someone to jump into my plan and try to make God and try to then include God in it, and said, okay, so we have it all together now. We have it all together now. It's all here. Okay, now God,
what do you have to say about it?
No, not even what do you have to say about it? Because I still wasn't creating space for him to say anything. I was like, now you bless it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I said, okay. So I went out here. I did all the work, right? I did all the grinding. I did all the work. I did all the things. I did it all. So now I'm done. And now I need you to bless it so that it can be successful. And he was like, girl, no.
My name is not on any of this. My name is not on
I'm not in any of this. I'm not in any of this.
Wow.
He said, as I told Habakkuk, I gave you the vision. Yes, you wrote it down, but it was not yours to then take and strategically implement. That wasn't it. And so that was the hardest part about that failed plan. Where I found peace in it was similar to what I said to you earlier, was relinquishing what control I felt I had. Relinquishing the notion that this was supposed to work out the way I thought it was supposed to work out, that there was a timeline on my life, that I was supposed to do things in a certain, order or do things the way I wanted to do them. So when I finally found peace in this failed plan, other areas of my life started to open up. I was able to heal anxiety. I was able to heal insomnia. I was able to heal eating disorders. I was able to heal just everything that was harming me. And it was almost self-inflicted harm in a way, because what happens when you're out of alignment is you lose a certain sense of self-confidence, right? You lose the ability to sit up straight with your shoulders out. You lose the ability to keep your head up and keep your crown on. You lose this because you're not thinking of yourself in the way that God would have you. You feel like you can't hear him. You feel like he's not speaking to you. You feel like you've lost a part of yourself that you can't get back because you're out of alignment and out of order with what he has said for you.
Wow.
So there was so much in failure. But what I learned from that is you only fail up. You don't go down.
After
right?
Surrendered. Yes.
After you surrender. Let's be very clear.
Yeah.
If you want to fail and continue deciding you're going to do what you want to do no matter what, you're going to continue to fall down.
Yeah.
You're going to fail down.
Rock
Your
bottom
plans are going to be
actually,
shorted.
there's a level under rock bottom. So
period. There's a level of hell under rock bottom. Let's be very clear. So that was when I finally realized that there was failure, there was peace in failure. I had to fail to really understand what it meant to attain peace and who to attribute that peace to.
So I had the realization that we could both speak on divorce. So I'm just going to put a little pin right here. If you guys would like Finding Peace in Divorce episode in season 2, I'm more than here for it, because there is so much that I have learned from my first marriage and so much peace that has come from surrendering my relationship to God. And I was able to do that in my second marriage. So, yes. And I say that proudly. So if anyone would like to hear that, I would love to share that. Now, what you said about how after you were able to surrender and really focus on who God, your identity in God. And that's when the healing started happening, when you were able to witness your anxiety being healed and your identity starting to become more clear. I think that when we start to allow the next chapter to be, again, control, we do this a lot, just for anyone listening. Kacee and I do this a lot. We say the same exact thing in different languages.
Different ways. We're the same person in different fonts. In case y'all are wondering.
Different fonts, that is it. But when you allow yourself to go into that next season with releasing that control, just letting that next season be what it is. Not only the peace that is experienced, but it's almost like a peace with mobility. It's like peace in every single part of your life. You walk into new places, peace, meet new people, peace. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. That only comes from allowing the part of your life that did not work to just admit it and recognize this is not working. For a long time, we hold on. Because the ego, right? Like, this was my plan. I'm not going to let my plan fail. And it's holding on with white knuckles that really keeps us miserable. And the ability to just say, okay, that did not work. I'm going to move into this next chapter, relying a little less on me, because I'm a dum-dum, relying a little less on myself and a little more on, the creator of everything, who already has all the cheat codes. I'm going to rely more.
That's all figured out. Yeah.
And let's just see what happens. That little thing called faith. And all the healing that you witness within yourself from just letting go. And we can talk about, whether it is just a mental effect, whether it is a physical effect, and where that healing really comes from. We could talk about that forever. But the fact of the matter is, once you surrender and let go, you release a sense of constant doing. And that's just going to lead to freedom. It's going to lead to freedom.
Yeah, that's it.
Exciting. That is so
that's it.
Oh my gosh. Did you want to add anything else to that?
No, I just wanted to kind of touch on what you said in terms of the connection between mental, physical, and spiritual, right? When you are actively in the pursuit of peace, I think that's the most draining time, because you're actively working on it. You always feel like you have to be busy doing something. You have to fix something. You have to interject yourself into what should be a freeing experience, right? So I don't think we put enough context surrounding the fatigue that comes with finally finding peace, because you actually allow yourself to rest.
Yes.
When I finally had a full night's sleep and I could feel the exhaustion in my body, Yeah. So it's also creating space for that. When you are finally safe, when you finally feel free, when you can actually relax, drop your shoulders and let your guard down, there is a fatigue that comes with not having to fight every battle, not having to be postured for war, just being prepared to be comfortable, to be conscious about that. So I think that's something that people need to be aware of and understand that that comes with the healing in the process.
That was one of the biggest realizations I had when I shifted from law of attraction into walking with Christ was with law of attraction. And like, let me be clear. I do believe like you focus on something, it makes it more likely that you'll obtain.
Agreed.
Like if you're a positive person, it's more likely you'll have positive people around you. So many things about the law of attraction are true. But the ultimate flaw of the law of attraction is it puts you in this mindset of doing and being and changing. And the freedom that I got from Christ, and that the freedom that I got from Christ and the freedom that I continuously get from Christ is that it is a stripping away. It's taking things off. I keep taking parts of myself off that the world put on me, and that is what brings me closer to Him. There is no obtaining. I don't have to be anything more. I just have to remove and take things off that never felt good in the first place. Girl. Ooh, okay. Let's get back.
Let's get back. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. So we may have touched on this, but in what ways has learning how to find peace within failure contributed to your growth?
In every way. In every way. I mean, I know that's it and straight to the point, but it really is that simple. It really is understanding that failing at something doesn't necessarily mean that it wasn't right for you, or that's not what you were supposed to do, or that's not what you were called to do. It's really about the approach, right? And so learning to understand that failure can sometimes mean not right now. I say it all the time. Rejection is God's divine redirection, right? So He's not necessarily saying no. He may be saying not right now, or He may be saying not this, right? And so being able to understand that failing in one arena at one point in time does not necessarily translate into failure. It doesn't mean I am a failure at this. It means that I didn't pass this test this time. It means that I did have an opportunity to see what was on the test, right? So I know what to better prepare myself for next time. It means that I took a ride down here and I may have failed in that arena, but I do have the ability to redirect my focus and kind of figure out where I need to be and realign with my purpose. So I think in learning how to fail, that in and of itself is just learning how to fail, learning that there will be moments where you will not be you'll not be performing optimally. You won't be at the highest performing level. That just won't be your story. And that's okay. And being okay with that. So learning how to fail for me, it was all in that season. It's probably going to be on our divorce stream, honey, but it was all in that season, right? Separated, lost my job, filed for bankruptcy, almost lost my car. And it was business bankruptcy, which I know a lot of people feel like their assets are protected when it's business bankruptcy, but you do know that limited liability means that the liability is limited and they'll still come after the person. So failing all in that one space felt like, as you can probably imagine, the world was crushing down on me. But like you said, I had to be stripped of so many things. Because this happened, I kid you not, I went to church and joined the church on January 18th, 2023. Joined the church, gave my life to Christ. Went home, my then husband blessed me out. I'm not going to say what he said, but he blessed me out for joining the church. January 25th. Yeah, oh girl, yeah. So I said this divorce episode. Anyway, January 25th, 2023 is when we decided to separate. I lost my job on, I think it was like the 19th, January 19th, whatever. So it was all like a domino effect. Boom, 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 boom. And I had to sit with myself in my prayer closet with nothing and realize, my God, I have everything. My God, there's so much peace in my mind, in my heart, and my soul. My heart isn't racing. I have so much peace sitting on this floor in the dark.
Because you had a demon living in your house.
Child. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, so that That was the epitome of finding peace in failure, because you know what that feels like. You feel like you failed at marriage, you failed at life, all your life. This is what you wanted to do. I was at the height of my career. I'm making the money I wanted to make, like all these things that are titles that are not who you are. And none of them obviously are in relation to where God would have you to be, because everything that he took from me, that I felt like he took from me, because my God, that's how I took it. Oh my God, you took all these things from me. I'm left with nothing. Everything that was taken from me was replaced with far greater. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have been happier.
Yeah.
So, in learning to see it that way, in that lens, from these aren't things that left me, but I've gained so much. That's how I had to learn how to approach it. It's not about what's gone. It's about where I'm going and what I'm getting from that. So, very long-winded response, but that's my answer.
Oh, no, we love a long-winded response. And when I went through my divorce, I don't know if I told you this, but when I got optic neuritis and I went blind in my right eye, what led to my diagnosis, that happened 2 months after the divorce.
No, didn't know that.
So it was like all this stress. And, yes, let's go ahead and save that for the divorce episode. But
yeah.
You are right. So much happens, and it gets you to this point where you literally feel like you have nothing. And that was my point. Thank you, Christ, for bringing the point back to me. But you get to
Holy Spirit.
It wandered away and I pulled it out.
Yeah.
But
Holy Spirit.
When you get to this point where you have nothing, and when you are at that rock bottom, there are times where some of y'all gonna curse me out for saying this, but I'm just gonna be real. My phase with the law of attraction, I believe that God even had me go through that, because there were books that I was reading, and I will never forget. I had nothing, and I was reading a book. It was one of those law of attraction books, Esther and Abraham Hicks, and they were talking about learning how to gratitude steps. Like every step you take, say thank you when you have nothing.
Yeah.
And that was the foundation of me learning how to, because I was not very grateful. When I had everything taken away, I felt it and I was mad about it. And I was mad about it for a long time. Brokey, okay. And I felt like her, okay?
Yeah.
I didn't even like myself, and I didn't even like my circumstances. And I had no gratitude for any of it. Like, could have told me like, hey, tomorrow's your last day to live. And I would have been like, well, maybe it's time, like it was that dark. It was not like, no gratitude for life. So learning how to rewire my mind to feel gratitude.
Yeah.
That when you have nothing,
yeah,
that is what makes you more receptive to even believing that there can be someone as miraculous as Christ.
Amen.
Girl, learning how to understand that it is not about the things. It was never about the things.
It was never
about the freaking things.
Never about the things.
And when you don't know that, God will take it away from you over and over again. But when you are able to fully, in the seat of your heart, know that this stuff is fun, the things are fun, but that contributes to my peace and my happiness not at all, that's peace, because all of it can be taken away and I'm still going to be solid. All of it can be gone. I can lose every material thing that I have. I still have my children. I still have my husband. I still have my besties. I will be fine. And I serve a God that I know will bring it back twofold.
Tenfold. It's like the old folks used to say, this joy that I have, the world ain't give it and the world can't take it away. And that is the realization you come to when you're actually stripped of material things.
Yes.
Right. I think we both had that very similar experience where you peak very early, right? You're in your 20s, you're making all this money, life is so good. And you're just like, oh my God, I'm untouchable, right? I'm young, I'm beautiful, I'm sexy. I got all these things going on. I have things like, come on, girl. I have things and things and things and things. And when you finally get to the point where it's like, things don't matter. When you learn that the love of Christ, my God, is so much more important than all these things. When you said, like you said, I'm deep rooted. I have my daughter. I have my man. I have my life. Like these are the things, my besties, my girls. Like these are the things that, because I know all of the things that I need I have. Mm-hmm. And if I did it once, I can do it again.
Absolutely.
If I made X amount of dollars before, I can do, and I'll do it even better now because look at all that I learned while I was failing.
Yes. And look who's working with me. Yeah. Okay. Failure is a part of the process. You just learn to pick yourself back up. Michelle Obama. We both have a lot of experience learning how to pick ourselves back up after things didn't go exactly our way. What advice do you have to give to women who may be mourning their vision, who are struggling to pick themselves back up?
I think it's important for the girls to know that failure is okay. And I think it's also important that they understand that creating the space that you need to grieve is monumental. It's not even monumental, it's paramount in your healing. If you think that you can just tuck that away and keep it moving, it will just resurface. It'll show up later on. It'll show up in a different area of your life. So if you fail, let's just say you feel like you failed in your career and you are not appropriately mourning the death of your career, it will resurface in your relationships. Right. And vice versa. If you had a terrible breakup and a horrible relationship and you just got up and started going to work, and I'm pouring myself into my career and I'm feet to the ground, it's going to show up at work. So I think it's so important that you take that, you acknowledge it, you create space for it, but you don't pack up and live there.
Yeah. It's getting good. I know. If you would like to hear the rest of this podcast, make sure that you tune in next Tuesday for part 2 of More Peace, Please. Finding Peace in Failed Plans with Kacee King.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of More Peace, Please. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Want to keep up with me? Well, that's a coincidence. I want to keep up with you too, boo. Best way to stay in the know is to follow me on Substack at Brown and Bindi. You can find me under the same handle on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. Until next time, remember to seek more peace, please. This podcast was produced by Brown and Bindi Wellness. The title track, Aesthetic, was written and produced by the artist Scandinavians.